I'm Spiffy G, your host for today's race. This is our weekly Group 4 80-mile series. And we're at the lovely, lovely track at Rio de Janeiro called Interlagos. You may be familiar with that one. There was a certain fellow by the name of Ayrton Senna that helped to make it very, very famous. Even got a corner named after him. Looks like today's shaping up to be a very good race. We have a good group of people in here, lots and lots of fast drivers. Currently, as things stand in the championship table, at the very top we have Mr. Cool Craig Porter with 459 total points. A couple of wins under his belt, followed by Big Easy, that's James Findlay. He's just 7 points behind. And in third position, we have Tergo Nybro, who is 82 points behind for unfortunately having missed 1 week due to an injury. So hopefully he'll be able to bounce back from that. In fourth position, we have Timeless King Racer, Mr. Aaron Santos, who has been to every race. He's 148 points behind. And in fifth, we have Greg Bellamachina, who is at 294 points, 164 points behind. And unfortunately, he's missed a couple of races too, and kind of put him on the back foot. To round it out, we have Marky B, Mark Burnup, Timeless Judicial, a.k.a. Sergio Carnielli, Juggalo Hulk, our favorite, Ivan Noland, Sammy Bishop 22, our friend Sam Gilbert, and he is tied for 10th place with Andrew Ferrugia, a.k.a. Falcon. I'm in the mix somewhere, but I have a long way to get back up to it since I have quit the series so I can be your glorious commentator. In any event, let's get to practice. It looks like the Norwegians are leading the pack right now in practice. Let's get some numbers up here. We have Nybro putting in the best time, no surprise there. Looks like Craig's pretty close, a little bit more than half a second, which ain't much. Followed by Celtic Flyer, James. And Greg is in fourth place. Somewhere in practice. And there's Ivan currently running fifth time-wise. All right, we'll just go ahead and keep peeking at practice while I check sound levels. Alright, good people. Sound checked out just fine. And we are back. So, in the meantime, while I wasn't looking, Nibro snuck in an extra second from the look of it. And Celtic Flyer has moved up. All looking good in practice. So we're currently in week 11 of the Gr4 80 series. And we have a pretty close race going here in the championship. Pretty close between Nibro and Celtic Flyer James Findlay. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Cool, Craig Porter is in the lead. Nibro is in third, as I mentioned before. But still, 82 points is not too much to overcome. Any number of things could happen today and in round 12, which will be our final round. And even though there was a car switch allowed at the halfway point of the season, we still seem to be preferring our GTRs to pretty much any car in this Gr4 series. I don't know, it just seems to be the car to beat. Ivan, of course, is sticking with his Porsche because he knows how to drive it, quite good at it. But most folks have switched to the GTR. Timeless Judicial was in a Ferrari the first half of the season, doing rather well, but he seems to be picking it up now that he's in different machinery. As a matter of fact, he had, when he played his Joker, he scored 52 points. The 2 points must be a livery bonus, but still, quite a step up. Ivan, unfortunately, that's Juggalo Hulk. Ivan has not fared quite as well, I think, because it's like we have a little argy-bargy going on here. Well, it is practice. Oh, good job, PD. You gave you gave the guy who got hit the penalty. Well done. Gosh, when has that ever happened? So anyway, to continue on the championship table, in 12th position we have Black Mamba, Michael Boucher. 13th position we have our friend Captain Slow, Justin J. And in 14th position, a fellow who's only done 2 out of 10 races, Mr. Anthony Gaynor, Wibbly Wobbly Ant. It's one of my favorite aliases. And Keith Madge, aka Fire Woodman, bringing up the rear. So it's great to see everybody here today. I don't think all of our racers from the championship table are here, but we have most of them, which is great news. So we should see a really cracking race today. This is a great track. Lots and lots of fun for the drivers. Very challenging. Can be very difficult to pass. Overtaking is not the easiest at this track. But it can be done. There are a number of good spots for it. This being one of them, as you can see the cars approaching this 45-degree turn. That's going to be an excellent place to overtake, depending on if you can get the braking just right and if you can get your nose in to the inside. Not great passing on the outside, but usually if you can sneak in on the inside, it's a good overtaking opportunity. It does have an uphill straight at the end, so unless you get a really great exit, you're probably not going to have too many chances to pass on that long straight. So you've really got to get the job done on the inside corners. Again, not impossible, but it can be quite challenging. Alright, so we're finishing lap 1 of qualifying. Everybody's getting the tires nice and warm. So let's see how this shakes out. So far it does look like the GTRs have a distinct advantage still, even though they were detuned in the last PD upgrade, or update. They still seem to be the car to beat in Group 4. There's Nibro sizzling his brakes. Just taking it easy, creating enough space. No, it does appear he's on his flyer now. I thought he would probably hold back a little bit since he has slower cars in front of him. Maybe he's just warming up tires more, but we'll see. He is sneaking up on Firewoodman. And Firewoodman appears to be on a flyer as well. So, interesting strategy. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. You're welcome, Justin. All right, we got our first times. Looks like Nibro's just put in a pretty decent time. Craig's put in a 139. Celtic's put in a 138. Nibro just beat it with a 138.1 and goes way to the top. By 3/4 of a second. Very impressive. Now let's see what he can do here. He's not flinching from close driving in a qualifying session, which is an interesting tactic, and it seems to have worked out quite well for him. I guess he was working on getting a tow from the other cars, and it's paid off brilliantly. I mean, 3/4 of a second is quite a margin. All right, Timeless Judicial just put in a 139. Celtic Flyer has some time to make up if he wants to make pole. He's a good qualifier. Nibro is just... he's a difficult guy to beat in qualifying and in races too, frankly. Unless he makes some kind of an error, he's usually the man to beat in this series. That said, James has a record of fastest laps. They could see him get to the top here in qualifying. All right, he puts in a 138.6, so he's narrowed the margin by about 0.3. Firewoodman just put in a 140. So not too far off the pace. And 2 seconds behind. It's a rather long track, so 2 seconds behind isn't nothing. All right, Markey puts in a 138.9, so Markey goes on up to third. Bella and Craig are in the pits, getting some fresh tires. Let's check in from Ivan's perspective and see how he's managing these cars. Okay, Timeless Judicial just put in a 139 too, so he's moved up. Very nicely done. He's using that engine to rotate that car. A very Porsche thing to do. Seems to be having a good run. Let's see if this moves him up any. Very nice. Good time. So that puts him up time-wise. It doesn't get him a new position. Oh, he took that corner just like Senna. Well done. No penalty. Oh, I was wrong! Got a little bit too much of the middle there, Ivan. Sorry, buddy. There's a very fine line between doing it Senna's way and getting it very, very wrong, and I'm afraid you were just that millimeter off. Thank you, Captain Slow, for that message and words of encouragement. I'll try to fit it in one or two more times in the future. I love the movie Dodgeball. Looks like Ivan's backed out a little bit. I think we may be looking at him going into the pits now for some new shoes. So only about 8/100 separate him and Marky B, so he has a legitimate shot at picking up the third spot, if not higher. And Ivan will sneak up on you. You're gonna watch out for him. He makes this Porsche go very, very fast. But for the moment, the #1 Norwegian is Mr. Nybro. All right, so Celtic, Marky has moved up to second. Celtic is less than 2/100ths down. Boy, that was enough of a margin. Marky got just enough out of that machinery to move him up. Meanwhile, Nybro puts in a 1:37.9. He has thrown down the gauntlet. And increased his margin to 0.6. As we like to say here in Texas, he ain't playing. Oh, well, now he's playing in the grass a little bit. It needed a good mow. Okay, so we're going to go and get some freshies. Let's see what Marky's up to. Oh, Marky's up to getting a half-second penalty. Ah, well. Time to come in, Spud. Hey, here comes the Celtic Flyer. Is he on a flyer? Yep, he's stayed out of the pits. So let's see if he can make up that 17 thousandths. He's got fresh rubber. All right. There, he takes it not quite as close as Senna like to do it, but pretty close. Late on the brakes. 50-yard marker. Yeah, he cut it a little bit tight there. Unfortunately, isn't a bad place to cut it tight. You don't spin out as much in that section. Oh, keeps it in second gear. Interesting. I usually go down to first there. Not that what I do matters, because I'm not great at this. Not a bad exit. The car seems to be moving around an awful lot. It seems to be, it's either a little bit loose or it's very glitchy. Difficult to say. Well, the car does seem loose given the squeals. Yeah, it's a little bit loose. He's lost it. Not the first one to do it. We just saw Nybro do the same thing. So maybe the track's a little bit cold in Twilight. Maybe feeling a little bit greasy. Let's see what Craig's up to. Alright, Mr. Cool, let's see a flyer. Now Craig's got a 138.8. Darn good time. And that wasn't his fastest lap, and his tires are a little bit old. Not impossible to do a fast lap with that little bit of wear, but they can get a little greasy. And he's got a quarter of a second to make up on Celtic Flyer. Meanwhile, Ivan is still a second back. But with fresh tires, we shall see what he's able to do. Timeless Judicial is about a second and a quarter down in sixth. And Bella's getting some new galoshes on. Falcon's back with a 139.8, not a bad time for his best one. Looks like he's had a little bit of trouble keeping it consistent. Probably trying to get in as hot a lap as he can. Then our friend Sammy's about 2 1/4 back. Our buddy Keith is 2 1/4 back. Yeah, Timeless King Racer is back 2 1/2, which is surprising. He tends to be very quick, and he's also in a GTR. I believe he was racing in a Mustang for the longest time, doing quite well. But everybody seems to acknowledge that the GTR is the car to beat here. Except for Justin, who is still in that beautiful Alfa Romeo. Just, you gotta admire the consistency. Not to mention the lovely, lovely personage he has tattooed to his panels. All right. We are close to the end here. Timeless Judicial's just put in another 138. His best time so far. Excuse me, it was his first 138. I thought he had one, but apparently I was wrong. A 138.9. Well done, Sergio. And that drops Ivan back to 6th. Still trying to get that Porsche to behave. So are you on a flyer, son? If you are, you're going to need to put in a 138.9 or better if you want to get that spot back. No, not quite. Not quite. And we are done, folks. We have our qualifying order set. In P1, we have Nybro. No surprise there. Very, very fast lad indeed. Followed by James, our Celtic Flyer, in second. P2, P3 on the next spot on the grid is Marky. So the rows are all rounded out. We're going to give it a minute to change tires, and we will be ready to race. So let's hope that PD has fixed that glitch, and then we can go right into spectator mode and start enjoying our race from the very beginning. Well, the field is separated by not quite 3 seconds, so everybody's done quite well in qualifying. We've got a lot of fast times here. All right, the countdown begins. Just seconds to go. And here we are. Let's spectate. Ah, look at this. We have camera. Countdown begins. Races are ready. Off we go. And Nybro gets a good start. Markey and Celtic Flyer side by side. 3 wide going into the center turn. Has everybody got through? Yes, everybody's got through so far. And Celtic Flyer pulls away. Gets past Nybro in the corner. Makes a beautiful move. It gets about a 3-car length gap on Nybro. I don't know how he pulled that off, but that was excellent. And here comes Nybro, takes it a little bit wide out of there, loses a couple of car lengths, and gets a half-second penalty for his trouble. So frustrating start for Nybro, but it's early in the race. Nothing you can't overcome. All right, the first tight corner, and it looks like everybody is getting through just fine. Let's check out the back here and see how we're doing. Good close racing all the way around. And Firewoodman is doing a little bit of late braking, trying to catch up to Timeless Judicial. Sammy just nicked the rear of Keith's car a little bit, I think. No harm, no foul. Nobody's off. No blood, no teeth. And Justin's got 10th position after starting at the back, followed by Falcon and Bella in 12th position. Bella does appear to be picking up on Falcon, using that toe to great benefit. The long uphill straight, it can be a little bit difficult to pass here, and then when you get into the center corner, it can be a little bit iffy. But he's made a clean pass on Falcon, and everybody continues on. Oh, we got Markey in the pit. Yeah, Markey's wanting to get off those hard tires. So not a bad strategy. Celtic gets a little bit of wobble. Coming into that 90 degree. And he has put a comfortable gap on Nybro. Very surprising. He's usually quick out of the gates. Something must have happened. I hope it wasn't your finger, man. I hope that you've overcome that injury and you're doing well. And Craig is right on Nybro's heels, as is Ivan. So the Norwegians are going to make it interesting today. Let's get our display set up so we can see what's going on here. All right. So our gap is less than a quarter of a second between Craig and Nybro. In fact, it is tightening. He's going to be smelling his exhaust. Look at that. We're going side by side into Senna. I don't think this is going to work out. No, Craig wisely backs off. Gives that corner to Nybro. And fights on. Meantime, Ivan has lost a little bit of pace. Not sure what's happened there. The Timeless Judicial is picking up a little bit of space. Firewoodman about a second behind. with King Racer on Fire Woodman's heels and Bella on King Racer's heels. Yeah, Bella's coming up on his pipes. Let's see what it looks like from Bella's perspective. Yeah, less than a half a second gap. And coming into these tight S's, this is a very good place to pick up time if you're quick in the corners. There is no car advantage, and there is no tire advantage, so this is just going to all come down to driving skill. Let's see if Bella can get an over-under happening here in one of these turns. All right, we come up to the 90 degree. Bella cuts it nicely and gets a great exit. And it looks like he's going to take him, and he does. He gets the position. And we have Justin with a 3.7 second gap to Falcon. Let's look at that livery one more time, shall we? Hello, Jenna, you sweet thing. My goodness, that is a becoming photograph. I'm surprised he doesn't have a lot more dents on that car because, frankly, who wouldn't want to hit that? Oh, did I just say that? All right, we got Marky way behind right now because he took his pit stop early. And very proudly driving the lovely American machinery. One of my faves, the Mustang GT. And Marky's been driving it to great effect. He's able, even though it's not a great machine in the corners, it is fabulous on the straights. And, you know, to be fair, really not that bad in the curves. Could be better. But, you know, it's big American iron, it's an FR car. You know, it's going to have its struggles. But he has managed to make that car very, very quick when he's in it. All right, Sam is in 12th position currently. And it looks like he may have taken his pit. Yes, he's taken his pit stop. Got onto some medium tires, as has Marky. Falcon is still running hard tires and putting down some pretty good times other than he had. Looks like he had a mishap in 4. But he's put down a 141.5, which is respectable. Justin's putting in pretty consistent times. And Belt's got a couple of 139s. And he is moving up on Fire Woodman. Gets the spot in the corner. Looks like Fire Woodman's going to try that over-under. Can he do it in the AMG? Oh, brakes are about to melt, but he couldn't quite get it done. Still trying, staying on that quarter panel. And finally, Bella pulls ahead. It's a good fight, gentlemen. Well done. Nice and clean. And here's Ivan, about 2.5 seconds off the lead. Excuse me, off of third place, off the podium. He's 6 1/3 seconds off the lead. Meanwhile, Nybro putting in pretty decent times. He's got a 5-second gap between laps. So don't know what happened there. I'm sorry I'm not able to follow all the cars at one time. That is one of the drawbacks of doing it this way. The Celtic Flyer is well out in front. By better than 2.5 seconds. And Craig has snuck into that second position. I really can't wait to look at the replay and see what's happening up here at the front. And Craig has put in the fastest lap at 1:38.6. So Craig has definitely put on his running shoes. Just all from lap 2 on, 1:39s. Just solid. While Celtic has put in a couple of 1:38s. So again, not fooling around. He's built a sizable lead at 2.7 seconds. And he's just making that car do what he wants it to. Boy, you can't miss Craig's livery. I mean, Mr. Cool has put on a splashy display of car. Followed by Nibro in his classic Nismo livery. And Ivan, with that change he's made to his Porsche, is really doing homage to his native land with that big old Norwegian flag on the top. Now, I do like the two colors. Splash side by side, the black and the acid green with the purple wheels. It's got a very Joker vibe, aka Falcon. A very enjoyable car to look at. There's Timeless Judicial with his timeless livery, and Bella's coming up on him. Bella is on a skunk hunt. Look at that, close, tight, clean. Little tap of the quarter panel, no harm, no foul. Just making it look easy. Just some great racing. And meanwhile, this battle has got Fire Woodman into the hunt and just gets past Timeless Judicial. Beautiful side-by-side racing. That was a difficult corner to pass, and he loses it trying to hold that corner. Somehow gets himself back on track. Excellent recovery by Sergio Carnielli. Oh my goodness. It did put him back in 8th place, but it did not ruin his race. I don't know how he held on to that car, but very well done. Now that's put King Racer up into 7th. So we've got two timeless teammates, nose to tail just about. Meanwhile, Fire Woodman he has figured out that Merc. He is looking quick. Keith, I hope you're listening to the broadcast, because wow, you're really looking fast today, bud. There's Falcon with his glowing brakes. Getting through those S's. And Justin in the Alpha. Making that little pointy thing work. Engines screaming. Jenna smiling. All is right with the world. All right, Sammy and Marky are making it a race. Marky is trying his darndest to get that Mustang to behave in the corners. And so far so good. Marky has put it to within 7/10. Alright, Sammy is looking a little bit better in the turns. At least he was. Oh, Marky made that work for him. Got an excellent exit and takes the position. No, what happened? Thought he had it. He must have had to back off. I saw some sparks flying. I don't know exactly what the problem was, but he's back on him. Nose to tail. Just sticking to his wing as much as he can. Here we go. Let's see if the over-under might work for him here. Okay, doesn't. quite get around him. Okay, now he does. He's just got a nose in on him. Takes the inside. Let's see if Sammy can make that work and get around him here. No, he cannot. Markey has legitimately taken that position. And I imagine in the straight he's going to have a bit of an advantage now that the GTR has been detuned a bit. Unless that slipstream works for Sammy, I think this is going to be Markey's to lose. And as they go into the first turn, Sammy gets him side by side, brakes on fire, but can't quite make it through that last turn. But yes, he does. He just nicks it a little bit, gets him in the final turn through the S's. What a move. Folks, I know we're looking at almost last position, but you know, a fight is a fight. And this is an epic battle here between Mark and Sam. You boys are getting it. Okay, I'm going to move to the front here real quick, but we're going to get back to this battle. This is something. We got two very fast drivers, and we have Mark, who generally spends most of his time up front. And there he goes, picks up that position again. And they are making these corners work. And somehow Mark is doing it in a Mustang. Very impressive. He seems to be using those curves to his advantage and just getting a little bit of extra rotation by going up on the curbs. It's a great idea. And so he's picked up several car lengths now in Sammy. But, oh, Sammy, don't hang your head, bud. That was quite a fight. Meanwhile, we're up front with Celtic, who's still better than 2 seconds in the lead. Followed by Craig with about 1 3/4 seconds of Nybro behind him. And Nybro has picked up the pace. And Nybro is putting in solid 139s, as is Craig. Celtic is just shaving off those tenths, little by little. And in general, increasing that gap. All right, so Celtic's in the pits. Craig's in the pits. Everybody's getting fresh rubber. This gives Nybro the lead. His mediums are getting a little bit tired, and he will be running out of fuel quickly. I think what we're witnessing here is Nybro attempting to put in a qualifying type lap on those mediums to see if he can't get some kind of a pit advantage here. Maybe get an undercut, or excuse me, an overcut happening. Oh, unfortunately, Justin's got himself a second penalty for some massive infraction PD has decided he's going to have to take. All right, we got Celtic, Craig, and Firewoodman in the pits. Nybro working hard on that overcut. There's a lot of squealing going on. I do hope this wasn't a mistake. So he is picking up on Justin. And Justin's running fresh mediums and is on his out lap, so he shouldn't be hard to overtake by a guy with hot tires. All right, looks like we've got the rest of the boys out of the pit. Got Ivan still on his mediums, plenty of fuel though. Timeless Judicial on softs. He's going to have to come in. Looks like his fuel's about to run low. And he is going out for another stint. Brave move. I wonder if he's got fuel saving on. Alright, here's King Racer. Currently in 4th position. Soft tires. Gonna have to pit. Running out of fuel. Here's our buddy Falcon, getting low on fuel here. Does he have enough to get past the pits? He's on hard tires. Nope, he is definitely coming in. Is he? Yes, he is. And our de facto leader, Celtic Flyer. He's coming out on medium tires. So has he completed his outlap? No, I don't think so. I think this is his outlap. Nope, it is not. He's finished his outlap. So he should have warm tires now. As does Craig, coming out on the mediums. Craig still holds the fastest lap. Did that way back in lap 4. Firewoodman's out, also on mediums. And Keith has put in a 1:39.4. Some of his laps are a little bit longer than that. A second off on a couple of laps, but still putting in great times. Here's Markey. Moving up in the world in that Mustang. Got a 141. Just a great lap. If he can continue to put down 140s, he has a legitimate shot at a podium. All right, Nybro and Ivan, the Norwegian duo, are in the pits, getting refueled. Let's see what their tire strategy is going to be. In these races, you have to use all 3 compounds. You have to use medium, hard, and soft. So maybe time for them to put their hard tires on if they haven't already. Markey started out on hards. I believe it was you, Markey. I believe it was you that went into the pit first then. All right, Timeless Judicial's in the pits. Ran himself completely out of fuel. Again, that was a brave move. All right, here's, oh, Bella's got a second, and he's been putting in some killer laps. So he's going to have to serve that time. Don't think it's going to help Sammy behind him too much. Although, going up this hill, this could very well give Sammy a shot. Oh, indeed, he is gaining on him. I didn't think he'd have enough time to do it. Oh, this is going to get interesting. Let's see this thing out in the wide open. Oh, Bella is not having any of it. Side by side. You couldn't put a piece of paper between the two of them, but that was a clean move. Sammy's trying to pick up the toe, see if he can get on the inside and gain the advantage in this corner. Cannot do it. Bella's just got too much pace, brakes very late, still manages to keep it within the bounds of track limits, and snatches that position back. Just gorgeous racecraft from the two of them. This is so typical of Multi-21. It doesn't matter where you are, you're going to find great racing on the track. Just pick a spot. Excellent. Well done by both racers. Meanwhile, that little battle has possibly put King Racer back in the mix. Though he does seem to have lost a little bit of pace in that corner. He squirreled a little bit. But he is making some time back. There's our buddy Falcon on fresh rubber. Fresh rubber and stunning livery, as always. And here's Justin, now that he's got his tires warmed up, picking up the pace with the 141.7. Meanwhile, Celtic Flyer has lost a little bit of that precious gap. He's lost a few car lengths. Nybro is now within a second. Oh, and Celtic has slid a little bit in that turn, and it cost him several tenths. And Nybro is now going to be picking up his slipstream right on his tail. Craig not too far behind Nybro. And Ivan in the mix. The whole crew within 2 seconds. This is shaping up to be a good one. And there goes Nybro. Gets a great exit off the last turn. Picks up first position. And Celtic gets a half-second penalty for his trouble. Excellent racing. Well, Celtic's going to try to use that slipstream and maybe bring that position back to him and get back first place, and he's going to need it. And we're going too wide into Senna. Just a little bit of a nudge, not a push. Everybody keeps it straight. No harm, no damage, no paint scraped off. Just good, hard, clean nose-to-tail racing. Oh my goodness. I hate that he has to serve that penalty. But we'll see if it's possible for him to get that position back. And perhaps he can beg for a little bit of a nudge from Craig. A little bit of a bump draft there. But no, Craig does not want to give him a bump draft. Craig wants that spot. And Ivan wants his. Ivan is gunning for that podium position. Meanwhile, with all of this fighting going on in the second three positions, it's building a gap for Nybro. Well, this is working out great for him. So Celtic, rather than being able to take advantage of that slipstream, is having to worry about the slipstream behind him. And we have got a tow train happening. There he serves his penalty, and now that will drop him down into fourth position. He has a comfortable 17-second gap to Timeless Judicial, so he'll remain near the front of the pack, but this will be a little bit of a challenge to overcome. Meanwhile, at the front, less than a second separates the podium positions. With Craig having picked up a second on Nybro, because he had a 1.4 second lead when James was behind him, but now Craig has turned on the afterburners. Now we've got Ivan in first position, snatches it away. Ivan on racing soft, so he's going to be quick in the corners. And just that little bit of extra softness and extra grip has put him into the lead. Well, let's see if the Norse duopoly can maintain their positions, or if Craig is going to have something to say about it. And Ivan is pulled away out of the slipstream, so that means this is going to be up to Craig to see if he can use Nybro's toe to get him through the straight. Doesn't look like he quite has enough here to get him into the corner, so he's going to have to hold back. Meanwhile, Celtic's starting to pull up on him a little bit. He can be quicker in the corners. He's got a shot. He's running on mediums. They're not too worn. But that's the case with Tom. Oh, and Nolan sneezed. He's just lost a little bit of position there. He's lost about a half a second of his lead. And Nybro is not fooling around. Now that he's on softs, pardon the confusion, I thought he was on mediums earlier, but apparently I was looking at the wrong car. So he's on softs as well. So this is just Nolan doing Ivan doing a great job in that Porsche, making those corners work. Meanwhile, Craig has lost a little bit of position here. He's almost a second behind Nybro. The mediums just aren't quite giving him the pace around the corners. They just don't quite give him the stickiness that he needs. Oh, Craig just loses it. And James sneaks in and grabs that position due to an unfortunate and unforced error by Craig. So now Celtic just under 3.5 seconds off the lead now. And he's running medium tires. They've got a little bit of age on them, but he is cornering very well. Looks like he has plenty of lateral adhesion. Meanwhile, Nybro has snuck back into the lead. So these boys are trading punches. Let's see. This is going to come down to tire wear, I believe. Oh, gets a little bit of a slide. That puts him back just a teeny weeny little bit. Let's see if it's enough to get him out of the slipstream. No, it appears not. Even that little bobble hasn't completely cost him. Although, the second one did, and now he's out of the tow. So he's not going to get the advantage of the slipstream up the hill. And that just allows Nybro to pull away. And now he has a great deal of time to make up in the corners. And his tires, which were a little bit fresher than Nybro's because of those two slides he had, that advantage appears to be gone. So Ivan is clearly going to have a lot of work ahead of him if he is going to get that position back from Nybro. Meanwhile, at the back, there's JJ. Stands for Justin and Jenna, I'm sure. Because who wouldn't? And up in front of him we have Fire Woodman, who had terrific pace, but looks to have had a difficult lap at 16, which has put him back a few seconds. Prior to that, just, boy, excellent pace. Well, let's see if he can pick that right back up. This is a good thing to see. He's really started to make that Merc work for him. We've got Falcon in 9th. And Fire Woodman hot on his heels. And the gaps are a little bit wider in the mid-pack. And Nybro is just adding more and more car lengths with each and every corner and each and every lap. Meanwhile, Fire Woodman and Falcon are making a race of it. Fire Woodman trying to get the inside position in the corner and coming up to the hairpins and takes it away, gets a little bit of a later braking point, just enough to sneak past Andrew. Well done. Andrew gave plenty of space. So both the Falcon and the Firewood Man live to fight another day. Oh, and he's flashing. I wonder if there's a little argy-bargy there. I don't know why Falcon is flashing his lights at him. Maybe just to say, nice pass, well done, have a nice day. Perhaps it's Morse code. In any event, it was a pass. He has picked up nearly a second. And Sammy's off in the pits. Going to change those medium tires. Oh, they are knackered. And here's Marky. Marky's putting down after his, or before his pit stop, he was putting down some nice 140s and 141s. Justin's putting down some 141s. Nybro, meanwhile, just continues to run away with it. It may be coming down to pit strategy at this point. And if that's the case, Nybro has some of the sneakiest pit strategy I've ever seen. He can somehow make magic happen in his pit stops. I don't know how. He ain't telling. So our boys in the other two podium position will definitely have their work cut out for them. But Celtic Flyer has maintained his podium spot, built a gap to Craig that at the moment appears insurmountable with 9 laps to go. But in a race with tire wear and fuel consumption, you can't count anybody out. And Craig is putting in some pretty fast laps. He did have a couple of 143s, which had to do with a couple of unforced errors apparently. But that time can be made up with a couple of hot laps. And new tires may just be able to bring that about. So Celtic's putting in 140s, 139s, solid lap times. Still has a 4-second gap to Nolan. And Ivan, in the meantime, has got that slipstream back as he comes up on the straightaway. And he is ticking off the tenths. Being this is an uphill, this can be a little bit difficult for the slipstream to work for you if you don't have if you have a wide gap. So he wasn't able to make that happen on the uphill. So if Ivan is going to make it happen, it'll have to happen in the corners. And in the meantime, both his and Nybro's tires look like they're wearing out. Ivan's are wearing out much more evenly, and he's got less front tire wear. But the rears, of course, in the Porsche are going to wear out quicker. Every time you let off on the gas, that makes the tires skid just a little bit. But Nybro's fronts are far more worn, so he's going to have a lot of understeer to overcome here. That said, that is not a disadvantage for a lot of drivers. A little bit of understeer can make some folks very happy indeed. And so far, it doesn't seem to be hurting him. But that could change very rapidly. He has plenty of fuel. He's probably going to want to stay out as long as he can and make this stint somewhat longer, so that when he does put on new tires, I'm going to guess mediums, it's just a guess, but if he can put on some mediums, he can easily get through 8 laps with lots of adhesion. Alright, so Nybro is increasing the gap to 1.5 seconds. Seems like Ivan is struggling a little bit in the corners by comparison. And he has lost about 6/10 to Celtic Flyer in the last podium position. So let's see what James is doing here. James is putting down solid 140s. He's had a 140.2 on his last lap, compared to Ivan's 140, almost 141, and Nybro's 140.2. Who's off? Is somebody off? No, we're good. Eyes are playing tricks on me. So Celtic Flyer, true to his name, is on a flyer. He is trying to burn down some laps. But unfortunately, it looks like he had a little bit of a slide there in one of the corners and just lost all of that position that he had gained. While Ivan has a 1.5 second gap to our friend Nybro is well and comfortably in the lead at the moment. Justin has put in a 159, looks like, for new tires, so his outlap completed. He's now going to take that hand controller and try to make it look like he's got a Fanatec rig. Put down a nice 140 on those soft tires. And that's the car to do it. Well, Sammy looks like he's having a little bit of an issue with his car. Just put in a 148. Sam's very capable of being very quick. This is a little bit off for him today. And Marky's got a 1 second penalty. Some infraction, which is a shame. He'd been laying down solid 140s to this point. So, unfortunately, there was a bit of a problem. Back ways, and this is going to scotch this lap. Firewoodman, meanwhile, putting in solid times. Very few mistakes. Falcon, same thing, solid times, few mistakes. Good solid driving will get you positions. You don't always have to be the fastest to eke out a good result. Just be consistent. Oh, as I say that, the commentator's curse hits our Firewoodman. Come on, get back in it, man. You're not lost yet. Come on, Keith, you can do it. Just keep your car on the track, Keith. I promise not to say anything else. Just keep putting out those good times. All right, so King Racer has picked up a position, a couple of positions, thanks to that bit of a mishap, but he kind of goes out on his own there and has a little bit of a bobble. Meanwhile, Bella in mid-pack is putting down decent times, and as I was saying before, the consistency, as much as anything, will keep you near the front. As witnessed Bella, he's not putting down the best lap times, but he's putting down solid lap times, and he's not getting himself into trouble. He's being patient. He's not making mistakes, and he's in a solid 6th position. And with a little bit of pit strategy, some luck, and possibly some mistakes by other drivers, he's in a position to move up, possibly for a top 5 and maybe even a podium position. So just an excellent display of racecraft here. This is what you want to see. Patience, few mistakes, keeping it quick, but just not crazy. And it's yielding results for Bella. Meanwhile, Timeless Judicial also putting down consistent times. Sergio is looking very clean, keeping very nice racing lines, keeping his times nice and tight together. You know, think of it like darts. You're not always going to get a bullseye, but you want to keep it consistent. You want to have a nice pattern, so to speak. As you can see from all these 141s and low 142s he's pulling, he's got a very consistent pattern of laps going, and that's got Timeless in the top 5. Craig as well, acknowledging the benefits of consistency. And even on those very slick mediums, he's putting down solid times. He's basically running on threads. He's going to have to manage his tires if he wants to remain in the top 5. As you can see, you get a little bit of a slip there in the front. You know, lost traction there in the front, and that's easy to see why. Alright, so our top three. Rounding out, we have Celtic Flyer. 6 seconds off the lead. Ivan, almost 2 seconds off the lead. And Nybro comfortably ahead by 2 seconds. Still scorching his brakes. Still putting down the pace. Somehow managing to make those soft tires work for him. They're almost completely gone. I'm surprised that he hasn't roasted the left front at this point. I'm expecting to see smoke come off one of them at any moment. But he will have to be coming in for tires. I mean, he's going to have to give in to the reality that those tires are done. That said, Nybro's right front is just about gone. Not quite as bad as Nybro's, but pretty darn close. All right, so here's Celtic. He's going to have to get past Sammy, who's about to be lapped. And Sammy's been lapped by P1, P2. So this could pose a challenge for Celtic Flyer, because Sammy's pretty quick. Sammy can put down a really quick lap. So Celtic Flyer is either going to have to sneak past him pretty quick or get into his slipstream one, because he does not want to be behind the back marker for very long. Speaking of slipstreams, it looks like Sammy was using one of the race leaders to give himself a bit of an advantage. Okay, every one of our race leaders is in the pit. Craig's gone in the pit. See if Timeless Judicial follows them. Timeless Judicial has a lot of tire left, so I don't know if he comes in, he'll want to come in for softs or something. Nope, he's going to stay out. So this should put Timeless Judicial in the lead for the moment. Meanwhile, at the rear, okay, my thing's not working. There we go. Okay, Bella's coming in. King Racer stays out. And Ivan and Nybro are out of the pits. It looks like Ivan has gained a position. Perhaps, yes, by picking up less fuel. He managed to pull out of the pits a little bit quicker than Nybro. Nybro is very good in the pit, so this is a bit of a surprise, at least to me. Ivan seems to have used that pit stop to great advantage, and actually has a little bit more fuel. He may have saved some fuel on his previous stint, and that's going to give him more fuel, so he will not have to use, probably won't have to use fuel mapping with just 3 laps to go. So let's see. How are we doing here on fuel? Yes, Nybro definitely has a little bit less fuel. Both are on brand new hards, so neither one of them will have a tire advantage. So the advantage is going to come down to racecraft, slipstream usage, cornering, all your basics. It just comes down to this with 3 laps, now 2 laps to go. So Ivan is going to want to protect himself in these corners. And now Nybro is right on his pipes. And unusually, Ivan did not go defensive into that corner. It's not like he's given up on it, but he just can't seem to find the pace. Probably because of those brand new hards. But oh my goodness. Yeah, he barely stayed in front, but still manages to hold position. Meanwhile, Timeless Judicial still in front. I do believe he's going to have to stop for fuel at some point, unless he can do epic fuel saving. It will be extremely difficult for him to maintain that 2-second lead with that little fuel. So I'm going to say Ivan is our de facto race leader at this point, given Timeless Judicial's situation. But could I be wrong? No, I'm not wrong. He's going into the pits. So our new race leader now is Nolan, Ivan Nolan, followed closely by Nibro, and I do mean closely. Nibro is coming dangerously close to giving Ivan a bump draft here. Okay, here he goes. All right. Tries to pull a dummy on him. Ivan can't go defensive at this point. So this is clear advantage to Nibro, who cuts the corner nicely, doesn't go over the edge, and because he's trying to hold off getting a penalty in that corner, that gives Ivan an advantage, gives him the chance for an over-under, which he takes to great effect. And now he goes defensive into these tight S's. Nibro trying to find some way to sneak into the inside, but Nibro is making that car big. Yeah, doesn't quite have the juice to get into that corner tight. Ivan almost goes wide, hangs on to it. It looks like he is barely able to keep those corners clean, but he doesn't, and now it's going to all come down to slipstream and defense. Does Ivan have the defense? He does not. Nibro uses the slipstream, gets him into first position, but no, Ivan just can't make up for it. And with just barely a tenth of a second, Nibro gets the win, followed by Ivan, followed again pretty closely by Celtic Flyer. Well done, gentlemen. Great race. Craig takes fourth. Timeless Judicial, who had a terrific race and I thought maybe might have enough gas to pull it off, gets fifth position. Excellent race by Timeless Judicial. Bella's coming in around the final turn. And brings it home, crosses the line in sixth position. Great race. Followed by Marky in seventh. Good race by Mark. Gives us a little spin with a wide gap. Followed by King Racer in eighth position. Our friend Sam pulls up in ninth. Our buddy Andrew will take 10th position. Should he be able to maintain his car through these corners, which he does easily. Followed by Justin. And Firewoodman doesn't quite have the slipstream to pull that position away from Justin, and he comes in 12th. Great race all the way around. Hats off to Nibro, Ivan, Celtic Flyer, all of our racers. Brilliant race. Nibro loses pole position, gets all out of shape, and still comes back to win the race. So well done, Nibro. Fellas, it was a terrific race, and it was a joy to comment on. I hope everybody has a great week. Congratulations to all of our racers, particularly our podium finishers. It was a great race to watch. It was a great race to comment on. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Ta-ta.